with yoga and running. I feel lighter when I'm doing yoga as a part of my running practice. If any of that sort of sounds familiar, or you've heard that in the periphery, here I'm going to tell you the 4 benefits of a yoga practice on a running regimen. Now, this is a 2-part video series, so in the first video we already kind of talked about the 6 effects you can expect, and in this one we're going to talk a little bit more about the specific benefits as it relates to yoga and runners. So diving a little bit deeper into that. And so if you didn't check out the first video, I'm going to put that link below so you can certainly check it out. And if you're here for part 2, welcome aboard. Let's get going. And you might be like, who in the world are you? Well, I'm Morgan. I'm a registered dietitian, a yoga teacher, and I primarily teach athletes, and more specifically, I teach runners. And so I teach runners everything from the A to the Z of yoga and really help introduce them to yoga, but also take their running a lot further with the benefits or with the incorporation of yoga practice. So let's dive into those 4 benefits of yoga when it relates to yoga or running practice. Why is this a tongue twister today? I don't know. Either way, so the first thing is that you will become a better and a faster runner. Now, that's a pretty bold statement, but it's one that I feel really strong about because every yoga student that I've had that has come from a running background with a regular yoga practice actually does feel faster and just overall better. Better meaning, you know, less risk for injury, you're not getting hurt, you're not having those aches and pains, and you're just faster, whether you're doing a 5K and you're working really on sort of more of that speed workout stuff, or even if you're doing more endurance and you're doing more into the marathons and ultra marathons, you're gonna benefit from yoga. Now, I know when I came to a yoga practice, it was from a running background, and I had some piriformis issues. I was also dealing with some shin splint issues, and so for me, I really kind of only was selfishly doing yoga because I wanted it to help me with running, and sure enough, that's exactly what I found. So one of the things that I think we kind of can forget about is how yoga is it's full dimensional. So it's mind, body, spirit, whatever you want to call it. And so we're not just getting the physical benefits like we would from running practice, but we're actually getting sort of that whole connection, which then does affect every aspect of our running. So definitely becomes, you can become better and faster. And because it's that whole like 360-degree take, think about how, you know, we overuse quads when we're running and we underuse our glutes. So yoga, because we're not avoiding the glutes, heck no. I mean, I don't know about you, but if you're like, you know, hanging out like this for a while, this is even a mild chair pose, those glutes are gonna start to fire. And so yoga does a really good job of sort of working out all of those imbalances to create more balance. And so with that, you're gonna become a better, faster runner. The second thing is that you're going to heal or potentially heal, but definitely improve injuries. So when I think about running injuries, a lot of them that come to mind are overuse injuries. So for example, plantar fasciitis is a really common one, and even doing something like a lunge for someone who's struggling with that can be challenging. We certainly work into other things like doing, you know, balls on the feet, toe crushing, which sounds lovely, I know, but you know, that's when you're just in this elevated sort of thunderbolt position, sitting on your toes, reach back, spread them out. Those types of poses that you see very regularly in my yoga practices and the ones that I teach here, that, you know, you'll see some of those links below, are definitely going to be part of that. And if you do have plantar fasciitis issues, check out the ones for toes and ankles first. That might be a good place to start. But definitely working into some of those injuries. So, and I also find that runners tend to have a really high, the sun is killing me, y'all, but runners tend to have a really high threshold for pain. And when it comes to pain, there's a difference between pain and discomfort. So in yoga, we learn what the difference is. So for example, something like a pigeon pose works into the hips. It might be discomforting, but we learned that, is it a discomfort that you can sort of settle into, or is it a sharp shooting pain? And, the thing that I probably learned the most too about my running practice is that I had sort of learned to live with a lot of those aches and pains, and they weren't serving me. So for example, when I got my shin splints, it was because I went on with those little nags and just sort of learned to live with it, and that's not the way to go. Yoga then also will increase that range of motion, helping with injuries. So for example, if you're having any over tight, I think these ducks are going to come make an appearance. If you're having any over tight issues in these quads, that range of motion that you see with yoga will also help sort of dissipate some of those potential injuries and help with that. And the third thing is that really helps with post-run or post-race recovery. So one of my absolute favorite things to do after a run or after a race is, if I have a chair, imagine my legs are on a chair right now, I just put my feet up. You can also do feet up on the wall, so imagine there's a wall right here. You can also do this on the edge of the bed, really anything that's going to get your legs higher than your heart. And what that does is it starts to flush out the lactic acid that's sort of pooled in your legs from your run or from that race. And then you can recover a lot faster, and it'll just reduce a lot less stiffness that you do find from overuse, especially if it is something where you've trained really hard or gone really hard and fast, like a race. And then the fourth and final thing is that fit mind and body connection. So again, I talk a lot about how breath increases your lung capacity, and we learn to sort of train our lungs just like we train our quads and our hips and our legs. But then also, with the fit mind-body connection, I'm just gonna go like this. We actually have a lot more calmness and a lot more ease. So if you have any sort of race day jitters, yoga is a great thing to sort of work into that. I started running because I had a lot of anxiety, and running helped to a certain degree, but what I found is that repetitive motion of like going, actually meant that my mind was going, and it didn't really give me that ease and that calmness until I started doing yoga. Now I will say that it was not easy and it did not come naturally. It still doesn't. So Shavasana, when we're like in final resting pose at the end, or any pose that we're holding for, I kid you not, what is like more than like 0.2 seconds, feels like an extraordinarily long time for me because it's just not natural. And so if you're coming from that same boat, like, don't worry about it. Know that there's still benefits that are taking place that you can't even see, right? Some of those mind-body benefits that are on such a cellular, visceral level that it's just sort of like one day you notice it happened, but it was because of practice after practice or yoga after yoga, where sort of those seeds were being planted and then could finally bloom, and you're like, oh, wait a second, wow. But the trick is you gotta keep going, consistency. So let's review real fast the 4 specific benefits that runners can expect when incorporating a yoga practice. The first thing is you can expect to become a better and faster runner. Yep, that's right. The second thing is that you can expect to heal potentially, but certainly improve the risk and likelihood of injuries. The third thing is that any kind of post-run or post-race recovery will be dramatically improved, and then your overall stiffness level will dramatically decrease. And the fourth thing is you're going to improve your mind-body connection. And so that sort of looks like many different avenues and many different things. It takes shape in multiple ways, but know that that's definitely something that yoga helps with, and even more specifically what you can expect it to bring into your running practice and your training schedule. So Again, I hope that was helpful. I wish that the sun wasn't so bright right now, or that I had a hat on, and that I didn't have to have my hands on my face like this, but I hope that you found it helpful, and if you did, give it a little like, and certainly subscribe to catch a new video every week. Hear about nutrition, yoga, wellness, yoga for runners, and all that other good stuff. Until next time, I will see you soon, and keep it kind. Oh gosh, so bright.